Today I chose to teach my students a lesson on using verbs correctly, past, present, and future verbs for verb consistency. And looking in their writing, I noticed that several students were misusing verbs. Also, some of them were very unfamiliar with past tense verbs, in particular irregular verbs. So prior to actually applying this to writing, we did have some direct lessons on what a verb is, also what is the difference between an irregular verb and a verb where you have an ed ending. So my hope today was to be able to have the students to edit their writing by looking for verb consistency. Okay, boys and girls, today during our writers workshop we are going to take a look at verbs in your writing. I've noticed through reviewing your writing that some of you do not have what we call verb consistency. So what that means is that some of your verbs may be past tense, like ran, and then in the same piece of writing you will maybe use the word run, which is present tense. So what we want to do to become good writers and have you to produce writing that is quality is to make sure that all of your verbs are consistent. So for today's lesson, what we're going to do is take a look at present, past, and future tense of verbs. Okay, I want you guys to think. Let's take a look at this sentence. So what we want to do is take a look and determine whether the verbs in this sentence have the same verb tense. Now I want you guys, we're going to focus on the verbs first. So we're going to identify the verbs first and then say, are those verbs past tense? Are they present? Or are they referring to something in the future? Here's the sentence. I work on my homework as I talk on the phone. Okay, I see that there's some actions here. Work, I know, is a verb, and talked is also a verb. Okay, I work on my homework as I talk on the phone. When I say I work, it means I'm doing it now, but talked, I notice it has an ed, which makes me know that it is a past tense verb. So raise your hand if you believe that these verbs do not agree. Okay, some of you think they do agree. Okay, we have work, which is past tense. I'm sorry, present tense. And we have talked, which is past tense. So do the verbs agree? Are they the same tense?
No.
No. Well, you know what? They need to be. Okay? So that's the type of mistake that I occasionally see in you all's writing. Okay? And I know that when you go back and look through things carefully, you're able to repair it. But probably when you write it first, you're just so busy generating those wonderful ideas that you haven't taken the time to do this. So our hope is that when you review your writing, you will in fact correct those errors. So let's take a look. That's what many of you wrote about.
Yeah.
Okay, what I would like for you to do is you guys are now going to apply our grammar lesson to your own writing. So what you will be doing is you're going to carefully read over your writing. You're going to use your highlighter to highlight your verbs. You're going to look to see if your verbs are consistent. So for example, if you're writing about the Revolutionary War, should it be past tense? Should it be present tense or future? The Revolutionary War. It should be, Johanna, Paul Revere, yes, okay, past tense. So what you will do is you're going to look at your verbs to make sure that they are all in the past tense. So once again, you're going to carefully read each sentence, Bradley, and you're going to highlight the verbs. Then you're going to look after every couple of sentences, say, okay, let's look at the verbs, are they all in the past tense? Okay, does everyone understand that? Okay, Daniel, I actually had an opportunity to preview your writing, and I noticed you did an excellent job of writing lots of details about what we learned in the Revolutionary War, and there are a few errors that I think we should repair. But the first thing we will do is to go through to ensure that you have verb consistency. So what I want you to do first is I want you to read your writing to me, because I think by reading it aloud, you'll be able to find some mistakes on your own. So I want you to read through, and I want you to focus on the verbs. So could you use your highlighter to sort of look at the verbs, okay? So read out loud.
I'm writing this letter to you because I want you to know.
To determine who I actually pull for individualized writing support, I usually attempt to look at their writing previously to determine what their needs are, and my focus is initially on conventions. So I pull those students whose writing is troubling to read because they have so many errors and support them with the conventions. Often these students are unable to see their own mistakes in writing, and determining how they are able to be helped is done by me previewing the writing after they've done so. So today I actually looked at Daniel's writing previously and determined that he needed additional support with verb usage. So I pulled him to the back. Okay, so did not. Did is your verb, which is past tense. Let's keep going.
When it was snowing.
Okay, very good. So far, so good. We have didn't, we have was.
Snowing. They were cold, but they never gave up.
Okay, what's your other verb that you have there?
Gave.
Okay, keep going.
They left behind bloody footprints.
Okay, stop there. Okay, what is your verb in that sentence?
Left.
Okay, very good. Now let's sort of stop and kind of look and see the verbs that you've highlighted to see if they're all consistent and in the past like you told me. So why don't you read them to yourself? You have
Want, doing, didn't, was, gave, left.
very good. Okay, let's keep going.
The battle began in December 26, 1778 in Philadelphia.
Okay, so your verb is
Began.
okay. And let's keep going.
The Continental Army built their own houses by wood.
Okay, highlight the verb that you have stated there. What is the verb that you have? The Continental Army build their own houses by wood. What's the verb? What did the Continental Army do?
Build.
Okay. Now let's take a look at that. Build. The Continental Army build. I will build a house. I am building a house. The Continental Army build. Do you want to say build? Is that a verb that is past tense? Do you know the past tense of build? Okay, it is built. Okay? So, with that red pen, let's make sure it works. I need you to write built. Okay? Do you think you know how to spell built? Well, what's it start with?
B.
You know, it's actually a lot like build, except the last letter is different. Okay? Very good. So how do you spell it?
B-U-I-L-T.
Excellent. Okay, let's keep going. As a first lesson in having the students to actually review their writing for verb consistency, I think the lesson went pretty well. I definitely found that there were definite needs with some of the students as I was walking around and basically watching them identify verbs that were incorrect in a piece of writing. Some students were unfamiliar with the past tense of the verb still. Some students were particularly challenged with future tense, saying that, well, that word seems positive to me because they're not looking at the whole entire sentence, but the verb